Hi everyone, it's Jay here, and today I'm going to review the manga and manhwa I read in June. I only read 10 volumes. June is quite a busy month for me at work, and I had some health issues that left me feeling tired a lot of the time. But never mind, what I did read was quality. I started the month by reading Beware the Villainess Volume 3. This series always puts a smile on my face. It follows a college student who wakes up in the body of Melissa, a villainess in the novel she was reading. She plans to live a quiet life of luxury, but the 4 love interests of the heroine, Yuri, make it impossible. She sees them all as scum, and ultimately not suitable for sweet and innocent Yuri. Melissa takes it upon herself to defend Yuri from these sleazebags, and boy, does she. This is the funniest villainess story I have ever read. Although I haven't actually read that many, but still, the point stands. In this volume, we meet the 4th love interest, Peacock Melody, and wow, is he over the top. Yuri is visibly uncomfortable interacting with him, and so Melissa steps in to save her. And she is so crass, it's hilarious. They end up having an intellectual duel. And another shout out to Yona's money-obsessed maid, Yona, who, whilst doesn't get featured a lot in panels, every time she does appear, her moments are absolute gold. I have no idea how they're getting away with all the pop culture references as well that are thrown in here, but I'm here for it. Overall, this was a very good volume. Not as good as the previous 2, but that's because the standard was so high. Also, I personally love the clashes between Melissa and the Crown Prince, who is her fiancé but likes Yuri. The ending of this picked things up, and now I'm hoping Volume 4 starts with a continuation of Melissa and the Crown Prince, because he really needs to be taken down a peg or two, again. Volume 4 is out in July 2025. I started a new series called The 31st Consort, and it's so sweet and lovely. I adored it. It begins with Felia's brother barging into their house and telling her to go be the king's 31st consort because it would give her a chance at marriage. He's so harsh. No one wanted the position because it's seen as almost an insult to the woman and her family due to the fact the house is a wooden cottage far away from the castle, and because they're the 31st consorts, they can only see the king on the 31st of every month. Felia ends up accepting and she loves it. She rarely has to see the king. She gets a cute cottage and has a big garden where she can grow to her heart's content, using what she grows as ingredients for her meals. One of my favourite things about this story is the interaction between Felia and the guards assigned to her. They're really nice and grateful that she isn't a spoilt brat. I also love the warfare going on between Felia and the housekeeper, who ensures all the consorts are well looked after, have enough food, etc. She is very unpleasant to Felia, leaving her alone and not giving her the provisions she should have, like food. We do meet the king in this one, and his interaction with Felia is very amusing. I don't think we're in for any shocks here in terms of how it's going to end, but if the series continues on like this, I think it's going to be a wonderful read. Volume 2 is out in August 2025, and if you want to read a cute romance with a female lead who doesn't take people's rubbish in the nicest way possible, this is for you. This is a series that was recommended to me ages ago by Hikari Suzuki, and I finally got round to reading it. The Ayakashi Hunter's Tainted Bride. I read the first 2 volumes and I loved it. It has been compared to My Happy Marriage, which I can completely understand, but I found the angst even more glorious in this one. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I love a bit of angst. The supernatural element is also more prominent in this series. It follows Nano, someone with strong spiritual power who ends up being attacked by an Ayakashi. It leaves her face scarred and her fiancé, Reito, breaks off their engagement in disgust. Reito marries Nano's cousin instead, who's called Akemi. So after the attack, Nano is treated horribly by the people in her clan. They are truly despicable. One day, Master Yako from another clan visits and after a series of events declares Nano his wife. She moves to his house and everything is just so good. Volume 2 has an emotional moment between the two, arising from jealousy and fear. It is so good. and you can see things falling apart for other people and you just know they aren't going to react well to it in the future. There are a few side characters which you see more and more of as the story goes on, like Senki and Goki. They bring some light comedy to the table. The art is nice, the story is great so far, and Volume 2 ends on such a shocking scene, I cannot believe it. Thankfully Volume 3 is out at the end of July, so I won't have to wait too long. Oh, I also forgot to mention that at the end of each volume, you get a story written like a novel with some full-page artwork dotted throughout. It's quite nice. Because it was Pride Month, I just had to read some of the BL manga on my shelves. I started a new series called Wet Sand, and I have to say the cover made me buy it. I love the bright orange and the sharp art lines, and he looks so cool. It's a BL webtoon with an earnest photographer called Joe, who ends up hanging around a bit with a guy called Ian, but their lives are really quite different, with Ian working to free himself from his past as a high-profile gang member, and having an on-again, off-again lover with TJ. There's a lot of setting up of different storylines, but it is very well done, and you don't struggle to grasp what's going on. I really like the interactions between Joe and Ian. They're so awkward at times. And TJ is seriously scary at times. His past with Ian makes you feel a bit softer towards him though, because he's not just some cookie-cutter a-hole. There's some genuine emotion there between them, even if most of it stems from past events. Joe comes across as such a nice guy, but he's not a pushover. He looks out for his cousin who's mixing with the wrong people, and he doesn't back down. I really like that side of him. Makes me think he might last a bit in this story. Anyway, I thought this was a strong first volume, and the second volume is out in September this year. I read a standalone called Punk's Triangle. This is another one where I loved the vibrant background of the cover. It makes it quite memorable. It follows Chiaki, a fashion student who dreams of seeing his designs on the runway, worn by Ai, the charismatic male model who changed his life. When a prestigious competition promises to make that dream come true, Chiaki is fired up to win. But then he gets paired up with Enaga, and his hopes are dashed because Enaga is clumsy and has poor fashion sense. What follows is a heartwarming story of Chiaki learning to have fun and be honest with a classmate, where before he only saw them as competition in the fashion world. The story is really well done. The art is great, including the outfits, of course. There was a moment where I truly felt devastated for one of the characters, and it is a testament to Yuho Okita's skill that I felt the emotions so deeply. It is a standalone, but it's a chunky one, so there's plenty of time for character development. I read another one-shot called White Liar by Tomo Serizawa, who I absolutely love. She's written some beautiful BL manga, including Snow Fairy and Scarlet Secret, both of which are great reads. If you haven't read them yet, I recommend them, and she didn't disappoint with White Liar. Kei is a talented freelance beautician who has decided to swear off love after his rocky relationship passed. Tiger is a mysterious up-and-coming actor, and when the two meet, they end up having a one-night stand. What follows is a series of one-night stands where the line between lies and security are blurred. Tomo Serizawa has this way of giving you more information about the character, snippets of their lives being added as the story goes on, which adds to your knowledge and understanding of the character without it taking away from the pace of the story. She manages to give them the time to develop in one short volume, compared to, say, Punk's Triangle. Tiger is struggling with his habit of getting so immersed into his character, he struggles to break free, whilst Kai is trying to sort out his feelings and inner turmoil over Tiger. It is a really sweet story, beautifully told, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is M-rated though. For all I've just said, it's super sweet. I think it's the spiciest manga I've read by her so far. The last BL series I read this month was Love on the Horizon. There are 2 volumes and they are very different sizes. I'm not quite sure why, but that's okay. So volume 1 there is a very clear story structure, whereas volume 2 is more of a collection of moments that take place after volume 1, which do of course create an overall story for these characters, but it does read more like a collection of short stories. So this series follows Yu and Nagi. Nagi is an art student who is in love with Yu, his senpai in the folk song club. Nagi thinks he has no hope with Yu, even when a drunken Yu wraps Nagi in his arms and falls asleep. Nagi sneaks out in the morning with zero intention of saying anything about it. These two do of course end up together, and what follows is tooth-rotting fluff. I loved it. It's one of those mangas where nothing major happens, but you're there for the ride that is their happy couple life. It's just so cute, and it was nice to read something that felt emotional and relaxing at the same time. Volume 2 is the final release for this series. The last thing I read last month was Cat and Gamer Volume 1. I found this in a charity shop for £2, and I'm really glad I picked it up. It's about Riko, a 29-year-old office worker who lives for gaming. She works super hard at work to finish by 5 PM, so she can go home and game all evening. One day someone finds a stray kitten in the parking lot and asks if anyone in the office wants to keep him. She says yes, although she's not quite sure why. Being a gamer, she sees this as a quest, and so then all her interactions with the cat are seen or spoken about in gaming terms. It makes for an amusing read. You also get these cute pages where you see things from the cat's point of view. The art on the cover is lovely. It looks like the cat has been painted on canvas. Can you see the texture? Maybe it's hard to see on the screen. I will be buying the next volume at some point. There are currently 7 volumes out, with the 8th volume coming out in August. So those are the volumes I read in June 2025. I didn't read much, but that's fine. I started quite a few new series and I enjoyed all of them. If you want to buy any of these, check out sci-fi.com, who always reduce the RRP on manga and manhwa volumes. And if you use the code Jay'sManga, you'll get an extra 5% off. Let me know what you've read recently. Do you have any recommendations for me? Like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Happy reading, everyone. Bye!